Thank you, Corey and Ciara. Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be with you here tonight. And to make sure I stay on track, I've just got a PowerPoint that I'll speak to because I could wax lyrical for a very long time about the work of the Leprosy Mission. So we'll keep it shorter and sweet and let you know a little bit about us. And all these faces are amazing people around the world who have been affected by leprosy, some young, some much older, and we look after one and all in the work that we do. So if you slide, please. Thank you. So as Corey said, yes, we have been around since 1912. So one of the oldest charities within New Zealand. And we are part of a global fellowship of leprosy missions around the world. So about 30 countries are involved in our global fellowship. And this year, we will be working with and for people affected by leprosy for 150 years, which is an incredible milestone for us. And we honour those who have been involved in the work before us, both in the field and also those who have supported. And we're carrying the baton on from generation to generation to see if we can end this disease. We are a Christian organisation and Christ is at the centre of what we do. And that's in our mission, our vision, and what we do on a daily basis here in New Zealand and around the world. Slide, please. So our vision is leprosy defeated, and as importantly, lives transformed. And our mission statement is because we follow Jesus Christ. So we seek to bring about transformation, breaking the chains of leprosy, empowering people to attain healing, dignity, and life in all its fullness. And our values, again, are following Jesus Christ. So we value compassion, justice, integrity, inclusion, and humility. Slide, please. We have audacious, ambitious, massive, big, huge global goals. And that is for zero leprosy transmission, zero leprosy disability, and zero leprosy discrimination. And the first of those has a timeline, which is 2035, which is wonderful to have that to drive our activities and our efforts towards, but also quite frightening because it really is just around the corner in 11 years. So it's a wonderful target to try and meet. And it is amazing to know that we have happenings around the world, innovation around the world that is going to help us to get there. So we are looking by 2035 to stop transmission from person to person, especially in children, because children are a good indicator of whether leprosy is in the community or not. Next slide, thank you. So this is a map of globally where we are, mainly Northern Hemisphere families, and down south in New Zealand and the West Island called Australia are supporting countries. And in the middle, sandwiched, are the countries that are implementing the projects and the programs. For New Zealand in particular, we're looking after our side of the world and support programs in the Pacific, in Southeast Asia, Nepal, Indonesia, in Nepal, Bangladesh and India, Indonesia, and some work too in Ethiopia and in Democratic Republic of Congo. Next slide. So we do focus on leprosy endemic communities. But what we do in those communities is really wide-ranging, because many of the places that we work in are remote locations, or they're difficult to get to. And so to work in those areas if we have a more holistic approach to what we do and serve the needs of the community, then we will be looking after people affected by leprosy and the community that supports each other in that area. So it's important that inclusion is very much part of our ethos, our values. We make sure that all people are equally respected. There is no limit on who we treat for whatever reason, who we look after, who's involved in our programs at a community level or within the health facilities that we have. Next slide. So yes, it is a surprise to many that leprosy still exists, even though it is an ancient disease. We have around about globally 200,000 people newly diagnosed every year, and we know that that is well underreported. And if left untreated, leprosy can result in lifelong disability and discrimination. There can be damage including to the body, including a clawed hand, a dropped foot, blindness or a collapsed nose. Injury and ulcers, which can be deep and penetrating ulcers, can then lead to amputation of limbs. And discrimination can be exclusion from education, from work, from community, and even from families. Next slide. But praise be, we have some solutions. We know how to detect and diagnose leprosy. There is a treatment, multi-drug therapy, which is a combination of 3 antibiotics, and it needs to be taken for between 6 and 12 months, on occasions even longer than that. So it's a very long treatment plan to be taking antibiotics. We look at the prevention of disability. How can we teach self-care to look after wounds to make sure that they do not get worse and result in amputation? How do we make sure that people have knowledge and are empowered about hygiene and nutrition to help build immune systems? We have physiotherapy, amazing physiotherapies for before and after surgery. And in some cases, extensive physiotherapy that will avoid even needing surgery. And then we have incredible reconstructive surgery. So a hand that is clawed can be straightened. A foot that is dropped can be made to lift again. Eyes where the eyelids don't blink and can cause blindness. We can have reconstructive surgery for them to blink again and avoid blindness. We have counselling to help people affected by leprosy and their families be able to manage the situation that they are in. And we have self-help groups for mutual support in the community. For children, there's educational scholarships and vocational training. And for adults, microfinance that enables them to have a small business that brings an income to the family and lifts them out of poverty. One of the amazing things with that economic development is that the income that is brought into the family is often used again to educate children, to make sure that they have a brighter future, to make sure that they have a different path in the future that their parents have had to struggle through poverty with. Next slide. And on the horizon, we have exciting developments. We have research into ulcer care that will dramatically shorten hospital inpatient stays and get people affected by leprosy back to their families and back to work much faster. For ulcer care, people can be in hospital for weeks or months at a time. We have research into preventative treatments that reduce transmission from person to person in their homes and in communities, and that's exciting to see those results coming through. And just hot off the press, We have new research into an alternative multi-drug therapy that could significantly shorten the treatment period. So remember, if I said 6 to 12 months, it's a very long time. So if we can shorten that, then that would have really good outcomes regarding a good high percentage adherence to following the treatment. Next slide. Prayers are really fundamental to our work. In New Zealand, we meet every morning to pray for our work around the world, and also to pray for our supporters. So we ask our supporters for their prayer requests, and they send them to us, and we pray for them. Globally, we have, thank goodness for Zoom, we have global prayer meetings. Our meetings start and end in prayer, and our strategy has Christ at the centre. So we are Christ-centered in all that we do. So our prayers for the Leprosy Mission include early diagnosis and treatment of leprosy to minimise that disability and discrimination, for those research breakthroughs for treatment and prevention of leprosy, for strengthening relationships with national and local government departments to work together towards ending leprosy, and for sharing health knowledge and empowerment in leprosy endemic communities to strengthen individual immune systems and community resilience, and for the safety of Leprosy Mission staff and volunteers travelling in remote areas. And last but not least, for each Leprosy Mission supporter in New Zealand, but also around the world, that prays for and financially supports the work around the world. So if you can keep our prayers in your prayers, that'll be much appreciated. God bless. Thank you.